Good morning, everyone. I'm David Doré, president of the downtown and northwest campuses. Thank you. And it is my privilege to welcome each of you to the exciting beginning of our new academic year. The theme for this year's All College Day is Access to Excellence. And I think everyone here would agree that helping our students achieve success is one of the best parts of working at Pima. As we have all experienced, the path to success and excellence can be filled with many challenges. Today, we'll hear the inspiring story of two incredible young men who were brought together at Pima, Brendan Lyons and Jamal Qasim. Their story is about success in the face of challenges. Brendan and Jamal, you inspire me to the realization that no challenge is too great if we work together. And I believe that Pima, as an institution, can overcome any challenge if we work together towards excellence. I believe that at the core of a liberal education comes the knowledge that we are one human community and we share a fundamental humanity. And when we are open to others and celebrate diversity, it is our different experiences that can reveal insights into humanity that we have yet to discover. At this time, I would like to introduce our guest speakers, Mr. Brendan Lyons and Mr. Jamal Qasim. Brendan has served Southern Arizona as a local firefighter. He is the executive director of Look, Save a Life. He is one of the main proponents for the recent ban on texting while driving and is a true standout in our community. He has a wonderful program and a deep appreciation of what it takes to save lives, as well as a remarkable vision for bringing awareness to the growing epidemic and health crisis stemming from distracted driving. Besides that, he has been named Hometown Hero by Davis-Monthan Air Force Base and the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds, honored as one of Tucson's top 40 under 40, as well as the dedication recipient and Man of the Year for El Tour de Tucson. Finally, he has an amazing story about survival, overcoming obstacles, the power of forgiveness, and making the most of life. Jamal was born in Tucson, Arizona. He was raised as a Muslim American. Growing up, Jamal faced his fair share of challenges. However, he stayed focused, and with determination, he registered for classes at Pima in 2011 and began taking classes to pursue a degree in dental hygiene. In 2013, Jamal had a life-changing experience that changed the educational direction a few times until he finally discovered construction. He found early on that he was a natural. As a 2016 graduate of Pima, he is now working for an HVAC company and doing what he loves. And they will share their gripping story with you this morning.
Dr. Doré, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I'd like to begin by thanking all the faculty and staff who have brought me to where I am today. I'd also like to recognize Provost and Chancellor Lee Lambert for inviting us to speak with you this morning. Pima College is a place for new beginnings and brings our community together. I'd like to share my story about how this institution was a conduit that would change my life forever. I'm hopeful that you'll find a way to incorporate some of the following messages from my experience into your daily life. These messages include maintaining a positive attitude during times of challenge and adversity, the power of forgiveness, and keeping your eyes on the road ahead. I feel uniquely privileged to be standing before each and every one of you this morning. A few years ago, I graduated from Pima College with a degree in fire science, which led me to a full-time firefighter career, a profession that I dreamed about ever since the first grade. On the job, I often responded to the tragic consequences of distracted driving. Unfortunately, on October 4th, 2013, a distracted motorist would come very close to ending my life. The injuries I sustained ultimately led me back to here, this fine institution. I started a campaign of awareness through Look, Save a Life, promoting the safety of all who utilize our public roads. As I say goodbye to one profession, an unfortunate incident redirected my passion to help and serve others. The video that you are about to see, you may find to be extremely graphic in nature.
911, how can I help you?
The bicyclist was just hit by a car.
Did you witness the accident, sir?
I did not. We just drove up on it. There's two bicyclists down, or cyclists down.
911, where's your emergency?
Yes, I'd like to report a bicyclist being hit.
911, where's your emergency?
It's a vehicle accident. It's a bicyclist and a car.
Okay, were you involved?
Nope, just past it. There's a whole line of us. Nobody could pull over. I'm sure you're going to have several calls. The cyclist is conscious, but definitely on the ground.
911.
Oh, my car just swerved and I accidentally hit two bikers.
Okay, is somebody injured?
Yes, one, maybe two. I'm not sure. Two injured.
Okay, please. 164. Involved. How are you?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm shaking like an ogre.
Okay. We have people on the way already.
Okay.
Are they both injured, sir?
Yes, they are.
Are they both breathing?
Yeah, they're both breathing.
Okay, sir, I'm going to transfer you to medical to see if there's any way you can help them, okay?
Okay.
Fire department. Is it for bicyclists that were struck?
Yes.
Okay, we have them on the way. Were you there when it happened?
I was the one that happened, did it on accident. The car swerved and I hit them on accident.
Oh, okay. And what color is your vehicle?
My car is a 2012 Ford Escape.
What color is it?
Red.
Red. Okay, we have the fire department and the ambulance on the way. Can you still see them both?
Yes, they're both right here.
Okay, and are they both conscious?
Yes, they're both conscious.
Are they complaining of any type of injuries right now?
One is, yes.
Okay, where is he saying he's injured at?
He's saying everywhere, but mainly his back.
His back, okay. And is it a male or a female?
It's a male.
And the other one, is it also a male?
It's a female. I don't know how badly are you injured.
Oh, my God.
Wow, just a couple years later, that's still very hard for me to watch. I sustained numerous spinal and pelvis fractures, was treated for a traumatic brain injury, forced to a lengthy hospital recovery, not to mention placed on medical leave for my dream career as a firefighter. Through months of doctor's appointments with seemingly endless physical, cognitive, occupational, and vocational rehabilitation, I often had to use a wheelchair to get around and couldn't drive for up to 6 months. I was informed that bystanders had stopped instantly to render aid. One passerby, who arrived just seconds after the collision, stated, "We stopped. There was a lady picking up stuff off the road. We helped clean the road so that traffic could pass. Your bike was scattered a good 30 feet down the street." I'm pretty sure the radiator was leaking. I picked up the plastic off the car's front end of the road. Not sure if it was the lower front bumper or underneath up in the fender wheel. But the vehicle had sustained a lot of damage. A lot of damage because it hit me. The sirens heard screaming to our aid were in fact my brothers from the very fire department with whom I was employed. The mechanism of injury required these trained professionals to kick into high gear. At a certain chilling moment, they'd recognize me, briefly stunned that they'd be treating one of their own. They packaged both of us in full protective spinal precautions, immobilizing us to long backboards. 2 fire apparatus had to be taken out of service so that additional manpower could be utilized on the ambulance due to the severity of our injuries. They expedited and transported us separately to Southern Arizona's Level 1 trauma facility at Banner University Medical Center. What I do remember didn't occur until days later. I remember awaking in a hospital bed in excruciating pain. I remember a cornucopia of wires, tubes, electrodes, and multiple IV lines extending from my body. I remember the profound burning sensation from the deep abrasions, lacerations, and avulsions from sliding across the rough asphalt. And I remember a team of doctors, nurses, and therapists sit me up for the very first time. And I can recall screaming from the piercing pain which must have echoed throughout the hospital walls. It's a strange thing waking up in a hospital bed, not able to perform simple tasks, such as walking or going to the bathroom on your own. With my shattered bicycle frame as a centerpiece of safety and awareness, I hope that my story resonates with you all about the life-changing consequences of distracted driving and how a moment's distraction can be a lifetime of regret. Each and every one of us in this room has a story. We all have a story of overcoming some sort of challenge or obstacle, whether in our daily lives personally or even here as an institution. You each have a unique opportunity to have a direct impact in your community and the students of which you serve. Throughout my recovery, a friend of mine introduced me to a quote, and it resonated deeply with me, and I hope that it resonates with each and every one of you. Walter Anderson once said, "Bad things do happen. How you respond to them defines your character and the quality of your life. You can choose to sit in perpetual sadness, immobilized by the gravity of your loss, or you can choose to rise above, appreciate, and treasure the most precious gift that you have, life itself. Holding a grudge doesn't make you strong, it makes you bitter. Forgiving doesn't make you weak, it sets you free." It would take 2 years, 7 months, and 2 days before I met the man who almost ended my life. I'd like to also share with you another video right now.
Before October 4th, 2013, Brendan Lyons and Jamal Qasim had never met, but a few seconds in time would change all that and put them both on a long road to forgiveness.
911, how can I help you?
The bicyclist was just hit by a car.
In the back of my mind, I always thought that he truly hated me for what I've done to him.
It is a belief Jamal Qasim carried inside since that October morning, the day his car drifted into the bike lane on Sunrise Road near Cole, slamming into Brendan Lyons and his fiancée, Lorena Evans. Lorena's wrist was shattered, but Brendan had life-threatening injuries. To this day, the horror of the crash eludes him.
I remember waking up on the morning of her birthday, and we were going out for a ride. I don't remember the crash. I don't remember any of that.
But Jamal remembers every detail.
My phone started going off. I had everything through the Bluetooth center, so I didn't take my hands off the wheel. But for that half a second, I looked at the little reader to tell me who called, and looked up. I had already collided with Brendan. And at that time, all I remember seeing is pretty much him rolling off my car, and I slammed on my brakes, pulled into the dirt lot, and I looked in my mirror, which was no longer there, on the side mirror, and I was frozen.
Trying to comprehend what had just happened, Jamal says he got out of the car and realized he had just hit 2 people. He reached Lorena first.
She had sat up, and she's like, "No, go check on him, go check on him." So when I checked on him, he was laying on his side, and then for the brief moment, I forgot he was screaming. And all I can remember that he was just laying there, and I thought I had killed him.
911.
Oh, my car just swerved and I accidentally hit 2 bikers.
After making the 911 call, Jamal then says he held it together until he called home.
As soon as I called my parents, I just could not stop crying. I could not speak.
Tests revealed Jamal was not impaired. He had merely taken his eyes off the road and nearly killed 2 people. Lorena miraculously escaped serious injury, but Brendan faced a much longer recovery. His pelvis was fractured on both sides. He also had several fractured vertebrae. After the hospital stay, he spent the next year enduring painful rehab sessions. Nearly 2 years later, he was actually back on a bike. But what wouldn't heal was a never-ending longing to know about the person who nearly ended his life.
Every opportunity that I had to either pick up a phone, I had his number from the police report, pick up the phone and call him, or write a letter and mail it to him. I got scared and I never did.
Unknown to Brendan, Jamal was going through his own hell over what happened that day, believing he was the last person Brendan would ever want to meet.
I always had that in the back of my mind, like, I physically hurt you. I put you in the hospital. I ended your firefighter career. I've done so much to hurt you. Why would you want to accept my apology?
It appeared the two might forever keep their distance until fate stepped in. As Jamal and Brendan were preparing to graduate from Pima College this month, Jamal attended a graduation event where Brendan happened to be a featured speaker. At the reception that followed, Brendan spotted Jamal and decided to act.
I look up and I saw him. And I put my food down, and I approached him. I said his name. I introduced myself. I said, I'm Brendan Lyons. He looked at me as if he had seen a ghost.
I started to choke up.
And I gave him a hug. And before he could say anything, the 3 words out of my mouth were, I forgive you.
When he gave me that hug, I felt all this guilt just pour back in me. All those feelings from the day of the accident just come back. And then at the same time, it was a big relief to have that forgiveness, to have that acceptance of what had happened.
I had immediate closure. It was almost like a cleansing. It was almost as if all these years of being afraid or of what to say or how to say it, and having that closure and meeting the man who almost took my life. It was powerful.
Brought together by a mutual need to heal, Brendan and Jamal may not be destined to be lifelong friends. They did graduate together, sharing selfies. The two also agreed to sit down in front of our cameras to tell their story of forgiveness. Jamal says it was not easy for him, but he hopes his message will keep others from a split-second mistake.
Pay attention to the road. That's the biggest part. Even if it's not your phone, you have so many other distractions. And the second message is mistakes happen. Mistakes happen to everyone, big, little, whatever it may be. But it's what you do with it is what impacts your life and everyone else's.
According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, on average, more than 8 people are killed and nearly 1,200 injured in the United States every day in crashes involving distracted drivers. Sean Mooney, News 4, Tucson.
So recently I was invited to speak to a group of high school students on the devastating consequences of distracted driving. At the end of my presentation, I was asked by one student, how do you feel towards the man that hit you? It's not important how I feel, but how does the man who hit us feel about how a moment's distraction changed our lives? Please join me in giving Jamal Qasim a warm-hearted welcome onto this stage.
Thank you. October 4th is the day that I'll never forget. Besides being my mother's birthday, October 4th, 2013 was the day I met Brendan through an unfortunate set of circumstances. After realizing I was just involved in a collision, I immediately pulled over. I checked my mirrors to look back to see what had just happened, but my mirror was no longer there. Realizing I had just struck 2 people, I jumped out of my vehicle to check on them. I was blinded to the fact that Brendan was screaming, and all I could think was I had just killed someone. I tried to do everything I can to keep my composure, but as soon as my mom arrived on scene, I broke down to tears. The following weeks to come, I felt emotionally paralyzed and could not pull myself out of bed. Realizing I needed to focus on the road ahead, I pursued a degree at Pima Community College. While preparing to graduate, I was invited to Pima's multicultural convocation. It was a beautiful choreographed night where nothing could go wrong. It was inspiring to hear the students speak on diversity and overcoming challenges. Then, all of a sudden, I saw a familiar face that made my heart stop. Realizing it was the man I had struck with my vehicle years ago. Getting ready to leave with my family, I heard someone call my name. I looked up and was shocked to see Brendan approach me.
I said his name and introduced myself. He looked at me as if he had seen a ghost.
I extended my arm to shake his hand, which he dismissed.
And I gave him a hug.
We agreed to have lunch that following week where we decided to walk together at graduation. During lunch, I shared with him how this forgiveness restored my faith in humanity.
Thinking it was a cliche at the time, it was not until graduation where I would learn what Jamal meant about how my forgiveness restored his faith in humanity.
I was born American, raised Muslim. Throughout my entire life, I have been subject to stereotypes, racism, and hatred. I have been called racial slurs, told to go back to my country, and even see my mom have to stand up against bigotry. Of all the people in the world to hate me, I felt it should have been Brendan because I put him in the hospital. I ended his career as a firefighter and turned his world upside down. But instead, he showed me compassion and forgiveness.
Now, more than ever, it is critical that we come together as a society to lead by example as servant leaders, celebrate diversity. People are people, first and foremost. We are human. We need to get beyond our skin color, race, religion. In this country, we have an obligation to protect and stand up for one another.
Hold your judgments. Don't define others before they have an opportunity to define themselves. People will always find a way to surprise you.
We're so much more powerful, as Dr. Dore said, working together rather than as individuals or against one another. Life is like school. In order to graduate, you need to have class.
Thank you so much, Brendan and Jamal, for sharing your unbelievable story with us. I think you're an inspiration to all of us and really model the way of forgiveness. On behalf of Pima Community College, please accept this token of appreciation for being part of this year's All College Day. Let's give them another round of applause. We can be so proud. These are two Pima Community College graduates. How proud are we of them? And now it's my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker. Dr. Terrell Strayhone is professor and director of the Center for Higher Education Enterprise at The Ohio State University. A renowned student success scholar, highly acclaimed public speaker, and thought leader, Strayhorn was named one of the country's top diversity scholars by Diverse Issues and became the youngest full professor in Ohio State's history in 2014.
It's my great pleasure to be here. First, another round of applause, please, for Brendan and Jamal for sharing that wonderful it's a powerful story, but more importantly, I think it's an awesome lesson that in this story we pick up really important elements about life, about humanity, about community, even connected to some of the things I'm going to talk about belonging.
And now it is my great privilege to introduce our chancellor. He likes for people to call him Lee. Please welcome Lee Lambert.
Thanks, David. Thank you, David. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. How do you follow Brendan and Jamal? Fabulous, right? These are our students. All of us had a hand in their growth and development. Thank you for sharing your incredible story.